Winchester AA target loads have long been the standard of performance in shotgun sports. Available in over 50 different load specs, the AA line is known for its 6% antimony shot, reloadable hull, clean burning propellant, and of course, the famous AA wad. Winchester AA, it's the choice of champions.
You are now tuned into Shotgun Sports USA. Powered by Winchester. Recorded in the U.S. and streaming all over the world. We talk to shotgun shooters from all disciplines, championship-winning coaches, gun clubs, world-class target setters, vendors, and industry-leading companies that fuel the sport. If you are into clay target sports, you are at the right place for insider information from some of the best in the world every single week. Remember to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and connect with us on social media. You can also catch our episodes on shotgunsportsusa.com.
Welcome to our first episode of 2022. I hope you and your families had a great new year. This is the continuation of episode 67 with Dr. Colo and Will Fennell. In this episode, Dr. Colo continues with lens colors. He covers the Purkinje effect. He also lets us know where he will be for the upcoming year, just in case you want to go see him. We have that and a lot more right now.
So we want to do everything that we can. And so for a decade and a half, everything that I've been dealing with in terms of shooting glasses is, number one, minimizing the number of shooting glasses that you have. Okay, I always felt that 2 was definitely enough until I came back from the Nationals. Now I'm going to make a lot more money. Okay, if you're a recreational shooter or shooting in the Northeast, 2 is absolutely fine. You never need more. But if you're going to be shooting in South Florida, you're going to be shooting at the Nationals, you do need that 1 pair when you're looking into the sun, that kind of stuff. But I don't want to get into that part of it. Okay, the situation is that you want to let in simply as much light as possible, Justin. As far as the color, enhancing this, enhancing that, for me, that means very, very, because it's a circumstance that I'm doing everything that I can to enhance cone function, macula function related to pursuit movement. And the way I do that is to go with the lightest possible lens I can. And I wear that till I can't wear it. And when I can't wear that, I put a darker lens on. There's a big difference between the 65-year-old starting cataracts and the 18-year-old kid with big pupils that's wearing a dark lens and doing just fine. Because the media with that kid is so clear at that age and everything that it's probably not significant.
Doc, the media, you got to explain that.
The cornea, the lens in the eye, the vitreous going back through the eye.
The older we get, the darker it gets inside there. Layman's terms.
So the 50-year-old, okay, is going to wear that. I use a Zeiss Drive Safe, but there's, Pila has a 95. Rangers just come out with a new set of React stuff, okay, that really seems to work very well. In other words, they've got them out there. It's just that the entire shooting industry has been predicated on the wow factor. So the judgment of what's best is still the wow factor. When people come to see me, it's a very captive audience. So when I take a very dictatorship rather than democratic approach to what they're going to wear, and I tell them that By doing this, you have carte blanche. If you don't like it or you want to change it, you can do it anytime you want. Okay, I have a very captive audience, so I can tell them what to do. But the majority of the population out there is still leaning on the wow factor.
Yeah.
This couldn't be more specific.
Doc,
This couldn't be.
Explain that wow factor.
Okay. In other words, what you're doing is you're increasing the level of contrast to get a glowing target, which is decreasing the individual, okay, acuity on that target. In other words, it's you're sacrificing detail to get contrast. That doesn't work.
It might help you pick up the bird coming out, but it's not going to help you kill the bird. Is that a good way to say it, Doc?
Well, no, because you're moving on the flash. You're doing everything right. Okay, Will, you got to get me back on track here. I've got to segue off because I got to bring this up. Okay, because this is so freaking important. Okay, and who brought this up was Anthony. This isn't me. Okay, I came down with reasons why, but Anthony was the one that subjectively picked it up. One of the biggest differences between the big boys and the rest of us mortals is they have the detail in their conscious plan to recognize at this time, for me in this station, the best that target is a 4. If 0
4
is
being on a scale of 1 to 10.
If zero is you can't see the target, and 10 is it's crisp and clear. The best that target is a 4. And in my conscious plan now, I've recognized that. For those big boys, when it gets to be a 4, gun goes off. The rest of us mortals are trying to make a 10 out of the 4.
Yep.
Big. This is really big. I don't want anybody getting off of the stand and saying, "Oh, those damn floaters! I couldn't see that bird." Okay, I don't want to hear that. Okay, I want to hear that. Okay, God, that target was a 2, but when it was a 2, the gun went off. I think I've mentioned this in previous podcasts in relation to Sims. Okay, did a thing on wading a stream, and they said there's 2 ways to do it. One is to, wade with the river. The other is to fight the river. The one is to, shoot with the level of intensity you have, and the other is to fight. I think it was a fantastic addition to what we do that Anthony did in terms of recognizing that to the public. That is so important. Okay, so let's take the guy that I had today. Okay, the guy that I had today was shooting left-handed. He had, a moderate prescription in his left eye, which brought the vision down to 20/30. Vision in the right eye was 20/20. Now, for those people that have been to M&M, this is a good example. When you're out in the field at the Vito Alley going down on the left side where Trapper Tom is and all that, and it's bright out, you're getting, constricted pupil, and if there is an error, you're getting an increase in the depth of field, so that target's nice and clear. Crisp, confidence is high. Now you duck into, down at the bottom of the Vito Alley, when you go to the left, and those 3 or 4 stations are in the woods. Now the pupil dilates and depth of field decreases, and that error now has a much more significant impact on the detail on the target. It's not the decrease in detail that's the problem. It's the decrease in detail affecting the confidence-doubt balance adversely. That's the problem. So by letting in as much light as you can, by being fully corrected, it amazes me. Okay, the people that come to me shooting at the level they're shooting, just having no recognition of how poorly they're seeing.
That blows my mind constantly. We see people all the time that are really way up there in the game and don't realize how much they need help with their glasses via prescription.
Which may be a factor, Justin. You may have to take a bunch of the stuff I'm saying with a grain of salt.
I'm just listening.
I had the top junior Olympic skeet shooter at the office last week, and you would not have believed what her prescription is. But it was off quite a bit.
So she's just going to see better now.
She's going to see with less strain in her case. She was young enough so she could overcome the error.
Well, God, just like somebody we work with at Westside, very accomplished shooter, but missing targets later in the round because the eyes were getting fatigued.
Absolutely.
Because they were trying to compensate for their deficiency.
Yeah. It's more that. It's more that than probably the detail, actually, in terms of you can only, try to count it. When you're out walking around and you're not really looking for detail, if you're off, a bit in terms of the acuity, the brain's not working overtime to try to fix it. But now when you have to pick up detail, like a road sign, so just think about looking for 100 road signs, when they're way down away from you where you can hardly make them out on a sporting place field, and how the eyes feel at the 87th bird. So now if you're a bit off dominant, you can't hold on to it anymore. You're getting more passive than active. Eyes are coming off the bird, and you fall off the cliff. So let's go back now to Purkinje. So bottom line is, you wear the least amount that you possibly can, letting in as much light as you possibly can. And when that is just not enough, then you add some contrast to, pick up the gap. Like I say, the 16-year-old kid, he can maybe get a very dark lens and still have a level where those 2-3 receptors in the cones are still firing fine. There's been no real studies related to shooting. Anytime I try to elicit a study for shooting, as soon as they hear the word shooting, it's over.
Being a brand name in the clay target industry, Rick Hemingway has said, "Have you ever noticed almost all major sporting events are being run by Pro-Matic traps?" Think about that statement for a minute. He's right, and you may want to consider that before making your next purchase. Rick is the largest Pro-Matic dealer specializing in individual and commercial trap sales. Rick provides skeet, trap, 5-stand, and sporting clays, designs, installs, and service. He also offers accessories such as solar panels, wireless release systems, as well as the hottest item on the market, the Claybot by Renair Products. Visit www.backwoodsquailclub.com or give him a call at 843-546-1466.
So when do you know that you need a darker lens? You start squinting?
Yeah, when it starts bothering you. Yeah.
Okay. And when you say darker, do you go darker as in color, or do you go darker as far as like a gray?
Yeah, see, I don't, we happen to hook onto something that I've been using a lot personally, and that's that light modified brown that Ranger has it. But I get it directly from Zeiss, and they match that color, and then we add Zeiss's best anti-reflective onto it. But actually, there's all manufacturers. all the manufacturers out there, this stuff, they are leading this way too. Okay, Pila came out with those kind of, I don't know that much about them. Okay, but I'm assuming that they're moving that way with those lenses that are like polarizing. Certainly, Ranger has jumped into this React, which is, again, I think, definitely moving specifically toward detail as opposed to contrast. There's nothing wrong with contrast. You just can't use contrast, okay, to minimize any function related to detail, because detail is where it's at. That was good. I think I was just scared that was going to get too bogged down.
Well, and Justin, the whole color thing is, to sum that up, the market has sold people, you got to have this color for this, that color for that, and this other color for this other thing. What Dr. Colo is saying is really you need clear, and then you need one contrast color whether it's brown or purple or red or whatever, that works well with your eyes.
Yeah.
When things are so bright, you need to cut down on the amount of light and give contrast to the target.
No.
You bring up the red, with these deuteranope. Okay, I've had 4 or 5 people that I've really pushed a certain lens that Zeiss is making. Mine isn't unique. I shot with David in the FITAS, and he has a color
David
problem.
Yes.
And he had a really good looking red lens from Pila that I really like the looks of. I use a Zeiss lens off of the vermilion that Ranger has, and I have to push more red. But that's and I've had 2 or 3 people very specifically that think I'm the best thing since sliced bread, because it really, really has helped them. But that's a whole other area that when I have time to come up to take a breath, okay, I want to pursue much, much more, because I think there is something that we can do here related to, okay, the red contact lens that they use for scuba diving and stuff, that not necessarily in a contact lens, but in a glass. I think there's things that we can pursue on related to color vision and shooting that I want to give some time to, that I just haven't had time to do.
Are you going to be around here sometime, Georgia?
He'll be back. He'll be at my place in the spring between Seminole Cup and Gator Cup.
All right.
I'm going to be, this may be a great plug. Okay, I'm going to be in South Florida shooting club, okay, or Vero Beach, or I can't find a place to stay. If anybody knows a place that my wife and I can stay at, okay, around Stewart, okay, please give me a call.
And then, Doc, you're also going to be back at Westside in January.
The beginning of January, yes.
Yep.
I do have kind of a backup. I've got a residence in is it Port Lucie or Point St.
Lucie? Yeah.
I do have a residence in there for the last week in January and the whole month of February, if I can't get a place.
And then, folks, the easy button is also just to go see Doc. He's right by the Hartford Airport. You can usually get a direct from most major airports to Hartford. Go see him there, or if you'll call his assistant, Sue, which, Doc, do you know her number off the top of your head?
I don't.
Well, nobody knows phone numbers anymore.
Yeah, we'll put them up. Anyway, you call Sue, and she can usually connect you with an eye doctor near you that can give the data to Dr. Colo, and Dr. Colo can work with you that way.
I've never been to an eye doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin, Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you edit that?
Yeah.
No, don't edit it. So,
Yeah.
Justin, we have a doctor in the Atlanta area that interfaces with Dr. Colo. So you're going to go see him, get your eyes checked, and let Dr. Colo review that for you. Okay.
I don't have
What
any
we're
problems
trying
with
to,
my eyes.
I'm trying to set something up. Very truthfully, guys, I have no openings for this year left, and I'm trying to set something up where I might be able to do some of this stuff, like I do some of the medical stuff that I do on Zoom.
Yeah, you do it remotely.
Yes. And I'm thinking that there might be a way, especially in relation to dominance evaluation and where to move forward. I might be able to do something along those lines.
But Justin, back to you. I mean, if a person cares enough about this game to listen to this podcast and buy a sporting clay gun,
Mm-hmm.
they're beyond how important it is to have your eyes examined and be sure you can see as good as you can see. I see people all the time with very expensive shotguns, and they're signing up for tournaments all over the country, and they can't see.
It is amazing.
I can't read
It is.
as far as
Well, no,
up close.
Justin, that's called
getting old, dude. That's called sneaking up on veterans class.
How old you got to be a veteran? 55?
55.
Yeah, I got
Hey,
it, man.
Justin.
Yeah.
At the Northeast Regional, I think it was the Northeast Regional. It might have been the Seafood Blast. I'm not sure, but I won the senior super vet FITAS.
How about that? That's good.
Because he was the only one.
Well, you didn't have to say.
He was the only one on his meds enough to be there.
So what happened, Justin, is I get this trophy in the mail, and it says, winner FITAS senior super vet. And so I call up Sam down at M&M. I said, Sam, somebody made a mistake. Okay, I got this trophy. Okay, it can't be. So she gets off for a second. She said, Dr. Colo, you were the only one.
So did that make you feel good or bad? Which one?
I don't know how it made me feel. Okay. But at the Northeast, I think it was the Northeast, I came in second in the FITAS in B class. That was good. I think I did.
Yeah.
Castellani shooting vests are manufactured in Italy and internationally recognized by elite shooters as the most popular, lightweight shooting vests on the market. Castellani vests are especially known for their Italian styling and superior craftsmanship and quality, making them a vest of choice for all shooting disciplines. Ultimate Shooting Accessories is the exclusive supplier of Castellani vests in the United States. Visit ultimateshootingaccessories.com for more information and to place your order.
Yeah, that's right. You and I went and shot together not that long ago. I just thought about that.
Yeah, you and I shot together. I missed all 6 birds on the first station.
See, I wouldn't have remembered that if you didn't tell me.
But Justin, seriously, you need to get your eyes checked, dude. It might be a brave new world out there.
Might be.
This is my line. You got to wear glasses anyway, so they might as well help you see.
I have a problem driving at night.
Well, then you need glasses. I'll tell a story about a really good student of mine. He was a great guy, and he's a doctor. And the doctors are the hardest to go get their eyes examined.
Right.
And so he had his eyes examined. Finally, sent the information to Dr. Colo. Colo reads his prescription and calls him up and said, yes, you need glasses. And until I have them made for you, don't drive your family at night. Let your wife drive.
Really?
That's how bad it's out.
That's a true story.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. At
So
night.
when they
Hey,
tell
guys.
you need glasses, drive at night. There's a reason, Justin.
Everyone, listen to Dan Carlisle's interview with the guy from Australia.
Yeah.
Where he talks about the fact that don't kid yourself. So few people are really looking at the target. And he does it very, very well. That's worth listening to. When Zach was in with Dez, Dez was in the chair, and I said to Dez, Dez, you got to make breaking the trigger a result, not an action. And Zach said, wow, that's great. I'll tell you something. Okay, for a year and a half, all I told myself was see the bird late, watch it break. And I didn't really recognize when he said that a couple of years ago, really the value that it had, but I understand it much better now. In other words, what Zach was saying was, see the bird late. What he meant was, don't see the detail too early. When you first see it, okay, there's less detail. As you ratchet your attention, you see the detail later. Now you've kept the conscious out of the way.
Right.
In terms of looking at a bird, I remember so vividly last year, I was with Will at Rocky Creek before I went down to South Florida, and I was shooting well. And at 77, it's a real roller coaster for me. There's times that I can shoot quite well and other times that I simply can't. But I was shooting quite well, and there were only two birds that I had trouble with. One was a 55-yard rabbit screaming from a platform. Now, Will says it might be a 35 rabbit, but I think it was 55.
35.
Okay. Okay. Screaming, and I missed like 4 or 5 in a row. And Will said, now look at that black line on the rabbit. And I absolutely stoned the next 5. And then the last station, there was a raboo that I missed 4 or 5 in a row, couldn't hit it. And Will said, really see that gray shadow in the middle. And I stoned the next 5. Really kind of putting an emphasis on what we have to do in relation to the level of attention on the target.
Mm-hmm.
David came up with a big thing, okay, very succinctly put together. Well, one factor that I use is I raise the comb up so I get them further away from the gun, and that seems to help. Now, what was the real meat in this was when he explained that by raising the comb, if they're doing it wrong, then they're going to shoot over the bird. But if they're doing it right, then it's going to be an advantage if they're off dominant. So what does he mean by wrong? What does he mean by right? Okay, if you're totally, okay, immersed in the bird, giving the conscious a difficult task to get it out of the way, you're seeing where that barrel is, but you're not looking at it. If you're looking at it, then the line of sight from your eye to the end of the barrel to the bird is going to make the brain think that you're shooting below, so you're going to raise it up and shoot over it. But that's only if you're looking at it, not seeing it. Did I explain that enough, guys?
Absolutely, to me.
Yep. Okay. So I thought that was incredible. I thought that was a great demonstration of the difference between seeing it and looking at it.
Absolutely.
Oh, you know, another real, this was a cool thing. Okay. Cameron Hicks could be the only guy more ADD than me in the shooting world. Okay. And so I'm talking with Cameron on the phone, and we're talking about four pair and how much he hates four pair and I hate four pair. And he says, Doc, I come up with something I really, really think it helps. What I do is I pick that spot of detail on the bird. I break the first pair, I break the second pair. Then I look for another spot of detail. So on the third and fourth pair, I've changed the plan. I've started over. I'm looking at a different spot on each bird for the third and fourth bird. I think that's a great idea. Makes a lot of sense.
For sure. Absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense to the eye doctor. Now, for the accountant or the librarian, maybe it doesn't. Okay. But for the special forces guy and the never get enough sleep eye doctor, okay, it could be significant. Anthony, in some time I spent with him recently, okay, came up with a good idea there. He says, when you really can't see anything on the target, look at the center of the target and then move to a spot. So again, that way you're kind of ratcheting your attention and keeping the conscious at bay. So, so I got in all the little things that I wanted to get in. We're good.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
Very good.
Well, appreciate you coming on, taking your time out.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
Anytime.
All right.
Thanks.